Hey there, YouTubers. Well, we have got a big and beautiful show for you tonight. Coming off, it's Monday, it's coming off a Packer loss, but we have got a fairly upbeat show for you and a lot to talk about. We are going to go through not just, we do Love It or Leave It every Monday, we're going to go through Love It or Leave It, which kind of overlaps, circle the stat this time around, because I want to do both of those together because I know there's several things I want to talk about. The next thing being the standings, division standings in the NFC, which are have gotten real interesting, but still hold favor for the Packers right now, even though the NFC North, we obviously take a step back and will be very closely watching the Vikings game against the Bears tonight. Then we follow up with some talk about how the remaining schedule plays into our hands and the fact that we truly command our own destiny, even though we can't afford to keep having losses. But it's a great show. I hope you'll join us. Good Packer Nation morning. Good Packer Nation Monday morning, everybody. To me right now, it does not feel like a Monday. It does not feel like a Monday after a Packer loss. However, we did experience a Packer loss last night. I think last night I was kind of ticked off, and this morning I'm actually much more optimistic. However, let me know who you are, where you're coming at me from. Jump on, emoji me your feelings this Monday morning. Personally, I am extremely proud of a decimated, I've called this team a triage unit, and this is a Packer team that got out there, got after it, got themselves in position, but were not able to win the game. A W's a W and L's an L. Packers go down 32-33 to the Atlanta Falcons, but emoji me your feelings this Monday morning. We are going to talk all about it. Packers, of course, first quarter, second quarter, we put up 7 in the first, 17 in the second. And then at halftime, what did we say? If any of you caught the halftime show, I said the only thing we can't afford to do is stall out in the third quarter. 0 points, got goose-egged in the third quarter, and then we're not able to get into field goal range at the end of the game, and the Atlanta Falcons go ahead and win this one by 1 point. Adam is here. Rick is here, my buddy Rick. Robert and Sean, good to see you guys out there this morning. Happy Halloween, everybody. I see all the sad-faced little Frankensteins rolling across, but I also see a lot of hearts. I'm going to be one of those hearts this morning, guys, because I know what it's like to be decimated like we were, and I've got to give a lot of credit to a team that got out there and was extremely courageous in this game. Tim, good to see you. Felton says, great game. Virginia is here. Scotty and Jerry as well. Peter says, tough fight. Peter, I am drinking, by the way, Peter, I'm drinking regular old coffee today because I passed your coffee on to my brother, and he texted me back and said he loves it. He thinks it's awesome. So I, again, appreciate it. It's a gift that keeps on giving. My brother's over there having a good morning, probably with a little bit of caffeine from your side of the world. So thank you so much for that. Felton's here from Savannah, Georgia. Kim says, I was there. All right, guys. And Philip says we did better than we thought. I want to give a shout out, and all of you guys can put a little love, maybe a thumbs up or a heart on the screen right now for all of the Packer fans who were in Atlanta. Now I know all of us wanted to be there, but some of us could be there. Those of you who got there were able to be there. You guys showed up. You could hear the crowd cheering for the Packers out there. You could hear Troy Aikman talking about how great Packer Nation travels. We have got a lot to be proud of, not just for our team, but also for our fan base. Packer Nation is strong all over the freaking world right now. And I am so proud of everybody who got down there to Atlanta. I wish I could have been there with you. It would have been a blast. Win or lose, we love our Packers. We're going to cheer them on every single time. And this is a Packer team that just about did enough to get it done. Had we been able to get into field goal range once, just get one field goal in that third quarter, that's the one thing I said. We cannot stall out for an entire quarter. We went ahead and unfortunately, we did that. But you got to give some credit to the Atlanta Falcons as well, who had a defensive scheme in place that was enough to get the game, to win the game. So, all right, well, let's talk about this, folks. I didn't do a lot of roll call today. I see Virginia says she's so happy this morning. I'm happy too. Last night when I went to bed, I was a little ticked off, But let me explain this, all right? I talked to my cousin Trent, all right? Trent up there, Thayer's Jewelry in Mauston, Wisconsin. You've heard me talk about it. He called me this morning, all right? And he had... Guys, we're going to talk about your predictions. He had a few predictions that were spot on. I had a few predictions that were spot on. We'll get to that in just a little bit. But the one thing I said before we hung up the phone today was, okay, so just hang with me for a second, right? Go back to last year, the beginning of last season. We went 6-0, right? But do you remember that there was a little bit of dissatisfaction? There were games that we won that we were not really that proud of at the beginning of last season. Yes, the W is all that matters at the end of the day. But there were games last season where we took home a W, but we were not necessarily happy with the way the team played. I'm going to say this. I'm going to characterize this game. And if you guys agree with me, give me a thumbs up. Give me a heart right now. This was a game that we were not able to bring home a win. The W is what we wanted. We were not able to bring home a win, but this is a game that I was proud of, a loss that I was proud of. Last year and early in this season, we had wins that I was not really that proud of. This game last night was a loss that I was very proud to be a Packer fan. And if you're an Atlanta fan right now, you have got to feel like you got away with one last night against the Green Bay Packers. This is a team that went out in the first half and was absolutely on fire. This is a team decimated with injuries. Clay Matthews able to go. We know about Ty Montgomery unable to go with some kind of they called it an illness, but it sounds like an internal injury of some kind. So we need Ty. I got a lot of love for Ty. I hope you heal up, brother, and I hope you can get back out on the field and are absolutely okay. But Ty Montgomery unable to go. Randall Cobb unable to go. Of course, we know we have no Jared Cook right now. We're missing Eddie Lacy. I mean, we're missing James Starks. We don't have our first or second running backs in this game. We call somebody up from the practice squad who has a nice first down run. Don Jackson in this game. This is a game that I am proud to be a Packer fan, even though we lost. I would have loved to have done enough to put Mason Crosby in position to win this game. I think we deserved it. I went to bed angry, but I woke up happy and proud of my Green Bay Packers. Halfway through the season, Bryce is mentioning we're going to talk all about that because, guys, it is right at the time in this season where we need to talk about the standings. After we talk, this is going to be a long show, okay? I'm just going to let you know right now, okay? Because there is so much to talk about. We've got to talk about the standings, and once we talk about the standings, then we got to look at remaining schedule today. It's a very important show. It was an important game. This was a game in which we needed an important win. We were not able to do it by one freaking point. But let me tell you something. This was one fantastic. If you are just an American football fan, this was a fantastic weekend of football. We had 3 more overtime games. We had another tie over at Wembley, a tie game. That's the second of the year. And then the Packers game, I am a Green Bay Packer. I want this team to win every single time they get out on the field. But this was one cuss of a game to watch. It was a fantastic game, and you got to give a lot of credit to the Packers shutting down Julio Jones with 3 catches for under 30 yards in this game is absolutely phenomenal. I know he was hampered by an injury. So, as we do on every Monday morning, we've got to play Love It or Leave It, folks. Get your thumb on the dial. Love it is obviously the heart button. Leave it is the angry phase. I'm going to tell you up front, this is basically, Love It or Leave It is basically going to be also circle the stat. And a lot of it is just me going out there and trying to give a shout out to the people I'm frankly proud of in this game. Okay, so love it or leave it. If you aren't with me on it, you can hit the leave it button. It doesn't mean you're not a Packer fan. It just means you were not happy with the performance. But let's start right now at the top of the list. Love it or leave it. Aaron Rodgers, 28 passes completed out of 38 for 246 yards and 4 touchdowns in this game, one of which was to Geronimo Allison. Love it or leave it. Geronimo Allison with his first NFL touchdown, called up from the practice squad. One heck of a game. And another one goes to Trevor Davis's first touchdown. Trevor Davis with 2. Trevor Davis doing his best Jordy Nelson routine out on the field, Trevor Davis is one of the few guys on the scramble drill that was actually working his way back to Aaron Rodgers. A half step toward Aaron Rodgers gets him free in the end zone. Touchdown, Trevor Davis. And then you've got that amazing catch on the sidelines, getting both feet clearly inbounds. Love it or leave it. Trevor Davis coming out there, not just being a freak speed guy, but being a difference maker in the end zone and in the red zone. Love it or leave it. Trevor Davis as well in this game. Love it or leave it. Jordy Nelson with the touchdown, but also we said before this game, the Packers to be in this game are going to have to hit one or two of our shot plays that we have not been able to complete right off the bat. Jordy Nelson gets the offense going with the huge catch, splits the defenders. They had a too high safety look on that, and I know that Aaron Rodgers saw that, but how about Aaron Rodgers flicking that ball out there under stress and Jordy Nelson bringing it in with a pinpoint accurate pass? Could very easily have been a touchdown right there. Love it or leave it. Jordy Nelson, folks, everybody's got to believe. And part of what we saw, this is another love it or leave it. Part of the reason we saw Jordy Nelson get open on this is, love it or leave it, Davante Adams is calling on defensive coordinators to give him some attention or he will destroy you, folks. Now, I know he had the drop ball. We had the fumble in this game. Fortunately, we did not give this up. We were better with turnovers in this game, obviously. We put the ball on the carpet that one time. But fortunately, it didn't go against us. Davante Adams is demanding attention from defensive coordinators and, of course, some big catches in this game. He had a quieter game, but he had a quietly effective game in this. Love it or leave it, Davante Adams in this game. All right, here's a couple that some people may leave because we're going to probably talk about this during the show. Love it or leave it, our two running backs that have basically just got on the team, or Jackson, rookie out there. Love it or leave it, the running backs in this game, they did not do much. If you look at the stat line, you've got Jackson 4 rushes for 10 yards, but he had that 7-yard rush that was a first down, and it really was a spark for our offense as well. And then of course you got Niall Davis, the 3 rushes for 4 yards. Love it or leave it. Guys, I was expecting more out of Niall Davis. If you watch this show, you know my bold prediction was that Davis was going to have a touchdown in this game. And I think that we did. I wish we would have done more to get these couple of running backs going, but let me say why this happened. Love it or leave it. Our offensive line in this game, guys, I think our offensive line took a step back in this game. They didn't have an awful game. I'm not saying they had an awful game, but I called upon this offensive line and I said that they were going to be the difference in this game. It was how our offensive line played. And honestly, I think that was the case. Had we been able to open a few more, get a little more green grass for Niall Davis or Jackson, we would not have had to go away from the pass. We would have been able to mix in more of a run. Aaron Rodgers was the leading rusher on this team, I believe. I'm not looking at it, but he had 60 yards and a long of 23, okay? That is not a stat that you really want. I'm proud of Aaron Rodgers for that, but that's not a stat that you want. I expected more out of Niall Davis because that guy can be electric if you give him some green grass to look at. We did not see very much of that in this game. Davis getting dragged down from behind and responsible for a negative yardage play on a play that I thought was not blocked up well from the backside. Love it or leave it, the offensive line right now. There's all kinds of ones we can say. All right, love it. All right, maybe we'll close with this one. The final love it or leave it of the day. Love it or leave it, Ladarius Gunter on Julio Jones in this game, folks. Julio Jones, 3 catches for 29 yards. And a long of 12 yards in this game. Ladarius Gunter, he did not have a perfect game. You can't have a perfect game against Julio Jones. But he had as close to it as you could. And the Packers were not afraid to single him up. And Ladarius Gunter, that's one that I called from before this game. I said, if Ladarius Gunter gets out there and plays a good game, and my fantasy was... And I think Tom Watts, was out there. He said this was his prediction as well. It was my fantasy. I didn't make it as a prediction. But my fantasy play was Ladarius Gunter high-pointing a ball and picking off Julio Jones. We almost had that in this game. And Trent is saying, had Julio under 100 yards, I expected Julio to have a day out there. I thought we would roll protection to him, but I thought he would have more catches than he did. He was hampered by the injury. I really think that had a lot to do with his inability to perform. The person that I pinpointed in this game was, I said, we're going to be doing everything we can to keep Julio Jones under wraps. We got to watch out for Sanu in this game and Tammy in this game. Tammy, of course, had the injury, went out real early, but Sanu was the only Falcons receiver getting close to 100 yards in this game with 84 yards on 9 receptions. How about our defense in general? Can I get some love for our defense in general? I know we allowed too many points. We allowed the 33 points. How many points did Brady from Green Bay Packer Nation say that the Atlanta Falcons were going to get? 34 points. I said we're not going to hold them under wraps. And I was right. 34 points, and they scored 33. I was one off. We had to know that the Falcons were going to find a way to get in the end zone. The surprise was that they did it so much on the ground. But our defense did enough in this game, had our offense just not disappeared for that third quarter. This game is a win, and we steal one from the Atlanta Falcons. But this is a defense that has done some good things. Obviously, we don't, I believe that the Denver Broncos were able to hold the Atlanta Falcons to 23 points. And that's what my hope would have been, to keep them into that high 20s range. But my prediction was that 34, which I thought was realistic and absolutely came true in this game last night. The offense, I think, was the one I expected, and that's where I predicted we were going to pull off 38 points in this game, only the 32. Had we been able to kick one field goal, we would have won the game, and I'd be happy because I'm right on the money. We were not able to do it. We weren't able to do it in the third quarter, but then really I think the reason that some of us went to bed a little bit angry was we weren't able to do it because who was it? There were people out there, maybe David, you're out there, I forget who said it, but said whoever had the ball, had the possession last in this game was going to end up winning the game. We had a few ticks on the clock. We had a chance if we could complete a few passes to get in field goal range, and frankly, I was sitting here on my chair saying, I don't care if it's a 75-yarder, trot out Mason Crosby and let him drill this thing home, and let's get out of here with a win, and we were just not able to do it. Brent is here. He says he's late. We've been going over Love It or Leave It. We're talking through all the stats. If you're with me, Brent, right now, you are the kind of guy that I said at the beginning of this video blog, there were games last year and early this season that we won, but I wasn't proud of. This was a game that we lost, but I was proud of. All right, guys. Well, that's Love It or Leave It. I'm really excited about these young receivers right now. Of course, Jeff Janis with a touchdown in this game. He was another one that quietly had a good game. He only had a long of 10, but he quietly had a good game. And we're going to have to lean on these guys moving forward. So, all right, folks. I'm not sure. I think most of Packer Nation is kind of like me. And Brown is saying just because we lost doesn't mean we shouldn't be proud of our boys. This is one of those games that I really am proud of the way this team fought through injuries. We all know the list, okay? We all know the list. This is an incredible list of injuries. But how many of you out there, you can heart me if you agree with this, are starting to get that? Last night, I got that 2010 feeling, guys. I got the 2010 feeling on me. Is that these people are going to have to step up. Look at the Super Bowl run. We know we're going to get James Starks back. Was he not important in the Super Bowl run in 2010, folks? We've got to be realistic about this. I know the Cowboys are going to be a tall order. I know we've got, if you're talking about the Super Bowl, you're obviously in the conversation is the New England Patriots. Who can match up with them? But guys, this is not just a game of skill. This is a game of heart. And the Green Bay Packers showed as much heart as I have seen in a long time out there. In these last two games, this Packers team, the offense in particular, has showed as much heart as any Packer team I can remember for a very long period of time. And I think I would be going probably back to that 2010 season that ended up in a Super Bowl win in 2011. And this is the feeling I'm getting right now. And to be quite honest, on a Monday morning after a loss, it gives me chills. I don't know about you, but it gives me chills. that Aaron Rodgers went out there and played a good game. We said before this game it was going to largely rest on the shoulders of Aaron Rodgers. More than that, I said the offensive line. I think that's where we lost this game, was the play of the offensive line. Had we been able to stick with the run a little bit more in this game, and I think Aaron Rodgers had a great game in this. I mean, you look at the stats across the board. All right, let's compare Aaron Rodgers to Ryan in this game. Aaron Rodgers, 28 of 38, 246 yards with 4 touchdowns. And Matt Ryan, 28 of 34, slightly better for 288 yards, slightly better, but only the 3 touchdowns in this game. You can't fault this game on Aaron Rodgers, of course, and he said himself, he said that there were some passes he wished he had back. He went high a couple times at Jordy Nelson. We understand that. But we did not see this Aaron Rodgers that was just off target. And Trent is, I'm seeing this right now. Maybe it's because I recognize your name. Sometimes I recognize your comments. I know there's a lot of great comments out there. I see Peter talking about Trevor Davis, Geronimo, and Janice. I see Trent mentioning that Aaron looked like he was having fun for a change. And that bodes well for us down the line. How about on the defensive side of the ball? I am loving what Mike Daniels is doing out there. I am loving the way he plays. He got the sack in this game, a big time sack. The guy is an absolute beast. He is a monster out there. And I just love the attitude he brings on a team that could not put Clay Matthews on the field. We had to hold him out. You got to hold these guys back when you have a chance, because they just have to get healthy or they never will. Same thing on the offensive side of the ball with Randall Cobb. You just have to hold him back to get him healthy, or he never will at this point. This is the halfway point in the season, basically. We've got a tall order ahead of us. You know, there's no denying it. But it is going to be an interesting season, and frankly, I'm getting more and more excited. We've got the Packers. One of the things we couldn't do was our 4th down efficiency. We're not able to convert on the one, but our 3rd down efficiency was at 60% compared to the Falcons' 44%. We continue that trend, and we did better in the red zone. And that was one of the things, that was one of my keys to the game, was scoring in the red zone. And we put ourselves right in position to do that in this game. This was a decimated defense as well. Of course, we know that story all too well. And I am proud of our defense, the way they went out there and performed. I'm proud of the way we shut down a very high-powered. This was an Atlanta Falcons team that at any point in time can just blow up a score, and we kept them from doing that. And look at the point spread in this game. Let's go back to this for just a second, okay? So the Falcons scored 10 in the first, but that's, the 1 touchdown. They scored 9 in the second, 7 in the third, 7 in the fourth. We were able to basically quarter by quarter, we kind of minimized the damage. We were under damage control for 4 quarters. Obviously, we gave up the 10 in the first, but we were across the board. We were a consistent team in that sense. And the Falcons, a team that can put up touchdowns really fast, we were able to keep them from having multiple touchdown quarters in this game. I thought that was a key to us having a chance to win it. And of course, we all know we did have a chance to win it in this game, just not quite able to get it done. Okay. All right. I could go on and on about this game. I'll probably talk more about the stats tomorrow. Maybe we'll do a second circle the stat that's separate from the Love It or Leave It segment. I kind of stacked those up together. But here's the situation, guys, all right? Now, some of you out there, and you can emoji me your feelings, guys, because some of you think Packers are circling the drain. There was the comment made last week, if we lose this game to the Falcons, that it is over. However, after watching the game, I might have been kind of, feeling that the same, but you watch this game, and I am thinking we are anything but through at this point, where a couple weeks ago against the Cowboys, it looked like the sky was falling. Now we have a good offensive game against the Bears. We have a good offensive performance against the Atlanta Falcons in a very difficult environment. And I feel like this offense is gaining confidence. I feel like now their arrow is pointed up, and that could be huge for us down the road. But for a minute, I may have to turn away from the screen a little bit, but it's extremely important right now for us to talk about the standings, guys, because I know I know we lost the game, and the W is what's really important. There are no moral victories. We put a loss up and are now down in that 4-3 category, along with a lot of teams in the league right now. So let's take a careful look at the standings. And if we're going to look at the standings, of course, we have to start in the NFC North. And the biggest news in the NFC North, and I know everybody is going to be watching this, Packers 4-3, but the Vikings play Monday night against the Bears. Division rival. Jay Cutler is coming back, which for the most part is either utterly meaningless or just means the Vikings are going to win by that much more. However, Jay Cutler has the potential. He's had to sit on the sidelines. He knows his career is at stake right now. He will not be a Chicago Bear after this season. And if Jay Cutler can go out on the field and pull a performance of a lifetime out of his butt right now, and the Bears, who are also struggling with injury, can go out there and have a gutsy performance and find a way to get it done. Maybe the Vikings, maybe Bradford throws an uncharacteristic pick or two in this game. He struggled a bit, and I feel like the Vikings were taking a step backwards, and I feel like their defense isn't playing quite up to the way that they did early. Again, especially against the Green Bay Packers. If the Bears could steal one in a division rivalry game, then the Packers are right back there, one game back in the division, guys. So we are far from out of it right now. We are far from out of it in our own division. The sky is not falling. However, obviously, we know it would have been that much sweeter had we been able to kick a field goal and come away with a win at Atlanta. We would be watching this game with much more excitement tonight because, of course, the Vikings now have the opportunity to begin to pull away, okay? If the Vikings pull away, all right, we'll wax hypothetical for a moment. If the Vikings pull away, and this is a Packers team, I'm going to hold up. Looks like my feed is struggling. There are a lot of people on here right now, I think. However, if the Vikings pull away and the Packers can't get it done in the North, here's the situation, okay? The last thing we want, we know our schedule. We'll talk about that in a minute. The last thing we want is for some upstart in one of the other divisions in the NFC in particular. All we want to focus on is the NFC right now. If we're not talking about winning the division, we have got to get it done in the NFC to make sure we get a wild card spot. And the Packers are very much in position to do that right now because of the situation in the other divisions. Now, we talked about the NFC North. We know that we're still kind of on the outside looking in a sense, against the Vikings. But look at the NFC East. The Dallas Cowboys are running away with it. And the Dallas Cowboys played the Eagles, but are now 6-1. The last thing we would have wanted to see was the Eagles to go ahead and steal one from the Cowboys, because then they're right in the mix for the division title. If they sneak up and can take the division from the Cowboys, that puts the Cowboys neck and neck with us schedule-wise and record-wise. We do not want to be messing with the Cowboys. We want the Cowboys to win out at this point because we can't beat them. If we were to tie them record-wise, they win the head-to-head and we lose out. So that is good news that the Eagles are still down in the NFC East. And then we've got to look at the NFC South. Of course, we dropped to the Atlanta Falcons. But again, this Atlanta Falcons team getting back on its horse is not a bad thing. They have got to take on this week the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which they lost to in the first game of the season. Now, had the Packers beat the Falcons last night, the Falcons, like we said, could feel like they're in a tailspin. They could struggle with confidence and come back and maybe drop 2 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That means Tampa Bay has an opportunity to win out in the South. They are 3-4 right now and have already the one win against the Falcons. That's a nightmare scenario for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win out in the South because we lost head-to-head again. If we end up matching up record-wise with the Atlanta Falcons and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers can steal the division, we are going to find ourselves in trouble again, but we didn't. So that's good news as well, that the Falcons, with a little bit of confidence right now, definitely going against Tampa Bay, and they have to travel for this game, I believe. That a little bit of confidence for them, even though it comes at our expense right now. But looking to next week, that is a good thing. Hopefully the Falcons continue to roll in the NFC South. And then the NFC West, which has the Seattle Seahawks at 4-2. That, again, is a team that we could be neck and neck with. But if they win their division, that means we're going to be above the next one in the division. Arizona Cardinals 3-4 with a tie. And, of course, we know that they tied the Seattle Seahawks. So we are looking pretty good in all of the other divisions right now. Of course, I'm getting out of breath because of this. Of course, we want to win the North, and we are still very much in it to do that. And Randy is saying, I hope the Chicago Bears kick the cuss out of the Minnesota Vikings tonight. If that is the case and Cutler can get it done, then we are very much right in the thick of things. So the situation, standings-wise, folks, looks very good for us. However, if you talk about where it is now, and especially if you talk about where it is in the NFC East, and of course following the game in NFC South, we have got to turn our thoughts and our minds to the upcoming schedule and how the Packers are going to have to win out. Of course, we understand that we've got a tall order ahead of us. This is a Packer team. We have won in the North, in the East, the NFC North. But now we come up against the Colts. I feel really good about the Packers against the Colts. Heart me if you agree. I feel good. The Titans are no one to be trifled with, but I feel good about the Packers against the Titans. However, the next two games after that, and this is a long stretch of away games, we also have to play at Washington for that game. That's an NFC East rival that is right along the same stat line as us if you look at the division standings. And then the game that I have circled coming up to the final run of the December run of NFC North teams is that Philadelphia Eagles game. We have to play at Philadelphia. That's a hostile environment. This is an Eagles team that is going to be playing for their division at that point. We have got to beat the Eagles, or we are going to regret it down the road. That's the game I've got circled right now. And then, of course, you go into the rest of December and the January 1st game in Week 17 to finish the Lions, and we know we have the Seahawks to deal with. That's a team that has to travel to Lambeau. I am going to be at that game. I just have to throw that in every time I mention it. Me and the boy are going to be there. I want to see all of you there. I'm going to be tailgating with my buddy Garth, and so obviously we have to take that game, but then we have all of our division rival games, and I feel like we are in a situation where we can have our destiny in our own hands come December. So that is the way the schedule plays out. We've got two of those NFC East teams. We cannot afford to lose to either one of those because both of those guys are still in the running, and the Eagles in particular are going to be an extremely difficult team to beat away in a difficult environment. The Packers are going to have to get it done at that point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so I am looking at then, of course, Christmas Eve, we play the Vikings after our game at the Bears, and we have the Lions to follow it up to close out the season. Guys, this is going to be an exciting season right now. I am looking at the schedule. It is not going to be easy, but we could very well command our own destiny in this schedule. The way it lays out. And here's the thing that I wanted to get to, all right? I wanted to talk about the standings because we're in really good shape, to be quite honest. I wanted to talk about, we're not in as good a shape as we want to be in the North, obviously. However, we're in pretty good shape in terms of if the case is that we cannot get it done against the Vikings, we're going to need them to drop a game, maybe two. We've got the head-to-head matchup. And if we can't get that done, if they need to drop at least one and we need to hit the head-to-head, and then we'll play it out from there because I think that means we all tie it up. But we will see going down the road. If we can't get that done, we're in pretty good shape for the rest of the standings, looking at that wild card spot. However, it's going to be a difficult go, and we're going to command our own destiny because we're playing all these NFC East teams. We're playing the front runner in the West with the Seattle Seahawks, and then we have obviously the last 3 games of the season are straight up NFC North rivalry games. We got to run that table. But again, like I said, I talked about the standings and I talked about the schedule. And the reason I talked about all of those was to mention this. Folks, we are playing better football with a team that is decimated by injury. We're going to get some guys back. Okay? We're going to get some guys back. And one thing that I am looking forward to, we are able to take one of these guys off the injured reserve list. We no longer have to designate that player. So let's talk about the IR list. 8 weeks down the road, and we could be inviting Eddie Lacy back onto this team, assuming things go well. Obviously, we haven't heard anything. 8 weeks from now, if Sam Shields decides to continue on, we could be welcoming him back for a final run. Maybe he retires after the season. 8 weeks down the road, we have a chance to get somebody back. And Brian is saying Lacy. I think I'm definitely leaning toward Lacy as well. Look at how he was playing. The problem with a running back is, and with Lacy is, we have to look at what kind of shape he's in by the time he sits out and does nothing for this long. What kind of shape is Eddie Lacy going to be in? But that last week we put some articles up on the Cheese that jokingly said Mike McCarthy was resting starters on the injury list. If we look forward, there is some truth in that statement. It's not that we don't miss them now, and it's not that we could not risk games in the meantime. But if we can continue to win games in the meantime, we may get some guys back. You look at Eddie Lacy, if he stays in shape, he will not have a lot of miles on his tires right now. And that's our single person that we no longer have to designate coming back off IR. Now, add to that the fact that James Starks had his surgery. He is hopefully and assumably, that's not a word, is it? We are making the assumption that he is on the track to get back on the field. If we get Starks back at some point, Starks I did not think was having a very good year at all. However, we know how important he was in 2010, and to have a guy that's familiar with the offense may be very important going forward. And again, if Starks comes back, he's going to have rested bones on the way back. And we will see what happens with that, but we've got both of those guys in play. We've got Jared Cook. He's not been put on IR. We have the possibility that Jared Cook comes back. Jared Cook was turning it on, and I think Trent and I were talking this morning, and I said we really could have used Jared Cook in this game. Richard Rodgers was a no-show in this game, not only in the passing game, but in the block. It was a lackluster blocking performance as far as I'm concerned with him. And Peter's saying Starks can turn it up, and I agree. I think Starks, I'm one of the guys, I was very happy when we signed Starks back. Not because I thought he was going to be this electric, he's going to command a lot of attention or anything like that, but I was glad to have the guy on the team. And now if he can come back, I am very glad to see if James Starks can come back. He can make a difference right away in these wins that we need in the meantime, and maybe Eddie Lacy feels good and the surgery is successful and the rehab is successful, and he may get a chance to get back on the field. I think one of those guys, I honestly think we need Shields or we need Lacy to be able to get back on the field by the time this season is over. But I'm definitely leaning toward Lacy because, number one, I'm looking at Shields and I've got to ask myself if his overall health isn't at stake here. And if that's the case, no glory is worth it. If that's not the case, let them make the decision. But if I had to choose, look at the way Ladarius Gunter is playing out there right now. He is playing like a number one. He is a different kind of cornerback than Sam Shields. Sam Shields, a smaller, lighter guy, relies on his speed. Gunter is able to play press man and really get in some wide receivers' heads. Heck, we can use them both. There is no question we could use them both. But at the same time, you look at the situation on defense. Hopefully, Randall and Rollins are able to come back. Eventually, we can get them back. So the situation is, this is a situation that could very well move drastically in our favor, even though it has fallen so quickly out of our favor in terms of the injuries on this team right now. So it's an incredible stretch we're looking at right now. I'm pretty stoked about it, to be quite honest. Obviously, the reality is it's going to be a very, very tough run of games. and we know we're going to have to start getting some people back healthy. Hopefully it starts this week. Maybe we start at least getting news, and we'll have a little better picture of who's going to be available. We know we want Ty Montgomery back, and I expect him back. We know we need Randall Cobb on the field, and I expect him to be on the field. We saw again, and this is the back shoulder reception of the injury situation, is that all of these young players are getting on the field. This is the thing that, hey, maybe we're not going to hit these home runs, but we are still making progress with our team because we're getting so much valuable rep time for these young players. It's not anything that you would never want an injury to happen for this to happen, but we are going to you got to take the bad with the good and turn it to your favor the best you can. And one of those things is we're getting a lot of young players out there. Look at what Geronimo Allison was able to do. He just carried out his performance from the preseason. Look at what Trevor Davis was able to do. He is starting to show himself to be a weapon. We didn't even talk about the 55-yard return that Trevor Davis had out there. I might be able to get a heart for Trevor Davis on that return. Look at his speed. He is dangerous, and he is just waiting to break one, and that could make a difference in a ball game down the road, even in just the field position if he doesn't make it to the house. All right, let's see. What else do I have on the list? That is all pretty much that I have on the list. Guys, I did mention, and I put a post up on GreenBayPackerNation.com, you have a chance to go to the Super Bowl through this new company we're working with, United Games, who has the Fire Fan game is coming out soon, and today, and I'm going to tell you when right now, okay? But if you haven't gotten into this game, you get to play for our trophy. The name of the game is Fire Fan. The name of our league will be different. It'll be obviously Packer-oriented. You guys are going to choose that. You're going to play for this win. In the meantime, you also get a chance to prove with a 30-second video that you are the best Packer fan out there, and you can win $5,000 to go to the Super Bowl. So jump on GreenBayPackerNation.com, and you can all you got to do is click on the link and it'll take you right. They've got the video that explains it. They've got the button to vote for your people, and they've got the button to enter the contest yourself. However, I do want to mention, if you didn't get into the game, and you do not have to play the game to enter the contest, okay? There is no obligation for you whatsoever to play the game with me. But if you haven't played the game or you haven't heard of it, I want you to play with me because we're going to be playing live for the first time ever. We're going to be playing with the Green Bay Packers. No more picking players from other teams, which frankly is the reason I never did fantasy. You don't have to know all that about football. All you have to do is go out and make the coaching calls, the right calls. From the coin toss on, and I love the coin toss because in this game, the coin toss was very strategic. We won the toss and deferred, and unfortunately, when we came back in the third quarter, that decision on the coin toss, if we could have just completed a drive and gotten a field goal in that game, we win the game. So those are the type of calls you're going to make, not just predicting the game, not just predicting the coin toss, but who's going to have yards, et cetera, how many points are going to be scored in the first half. But you're going to play with your Green Bay Packers for the first time ever. It is not available. The game has not been released yet. But if you want to get in and you haven't already, just go to firefan.com and put in the promo code GETTHERING, all one word. Or you can go to Green Bay Packer Nation and just click on that post. Do you want to go to the Super Bowl? And I put a link in there also that will pre-fill our promo code for you to get in the game. I hope everybody does, because it is going to be a lot of fun, and we are going to have a huge league. Packer Nation is going to be well represented in this game. All right, well, folks, that's all I wanted to talk about today. We've got a lot of exciting things on the horizon, and of course, we're going to be excited to watch this big-time NFC North rivalry matchup tonight between the Vikings and the Bears. It will be interesting to see if the Bears can sneak one from the Vikings right now, which would put them at 5-2 rather than 6-1, which really hurts the Packers' chances in the North right now. All right, well, I hope that you have a fantastic Monday afternoon. I am going to check out a few more. I see some more comments coming across. Hector says he wants to play because he wants his Precious. This Precious is okay. This is the trophy. In case you haven't seen, this thing is getting more love, and I've got to be honest. It is almost like the real Lord of the Rings ring because it's like calling to me every day. I just want to wear it. When we got it, we thought of it as a trophy, obviously, because it looks good, but it looks really good in the case. You can set it up. It shines under your desk lamp or anywhere you want to put it. But for crying out loud, I did not expect it to be this important. And Rick is saying, answer your phone. Rick, I need to put your name in because apparently you called me. I'm having phone problems right now. Like anybody who texts me right now, it's not getting through. So I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to I think you gave me your number again, and I was going to ask you because I figured you must have tried to call and I didn't answer or I didn't get it. One or the other. But I'm going to put your name in to make sure I know who you are. And right now I am kind of off the grid, which actually is kind of a good feeling, but I will be back. We need to chat. But yeah, I don't know what's going on. It's not a good thing because Trent just said he messaged me during the game and I didn't get the message. His two messages, all right, I'm going to mention his two messages because they're very pertinent. His two messages to me during the game, and you guys can thumbs up or give some love if you agree to this, because I talked about it at halftime and I hadn't even gotten the message. But his two messages, one was the PI call on Ladarius Gunter was B cussin F, S, BF, best friend, was B cussin S. I hated that call. I did not think that the game was given up or taken away by that call or by the refs in this game, but that was a BS call. I think Ladarius got away with one a little bit later, so I think ended up balancing out. That was the one thing he messaged me. The other thing he messaged me was, this is the Aaron Rodgers that we've been waiting to see. So if you're out there and you got a little Halloween symbol for any love on those two comments, I didn't get him. He texted me and I just simply didn't even see him. And this has been a problem now this past weekend. So I don't know what's going on. I got to get it fixed. Yeah. Ladarius Gunter should not have been called, I don't think. I think they should have, if anybody should have been called. And you hear even Troy Aikman is saying this in the commentary, is if anybody should have gotten called for interference, it should have been Julio Jones on that play for grabbing both of Gunter's shoulder pads and pushing him down. However, this isn't the video blog to gripe about. I'm not throwing the Ross used to throw the Packer Show Challenge flag and talk about the reffing. It wasn't Ross so much, but it was a lot of fun actually. It's a lot of fun to rail on the refs, you know. But I try not to do it too much because I don't feel like the refs often take the game away. I like to see our players go out and play the game better. So at any rate. I do see a good comment out there. Johnny is saying, defense got to Ryan too late. And that was the one thing I was mentioning. I think Julius Peppers had a great game. I think he was disruptive. And he and Daniels were the ones with the sacks in this game, I believe. But what you saw, we knew this, the one chance if we weren't going to cover well, which we ended up covering pretty well. But if we weren't going to do that, we were going to have to bring it. We were going to have to hit Ryan early and hit him often. We talked about that. And Johnny, to your point, I agree. We did not quite get that done. I didn't feel like we weren't getting pressure, but we were just a half second late each time. And if we had been able to dial that up a little bit more, this would have been a different game. So I completely agree with your comment there. And I was actually saying the same thing. You were probably saying it during the game. I was saying, man, we are just a half second too late getting to Ryan in this game. Bryce is mentioning, get Clay back and we will close in on quarterbacks more easily. Excellent point, my friend. And so to that's part of the reason I'm not angry with this defensive line. They were active out there. They were collapsing the pocket. They weren't quite on time. But this was a defense that went out there, was hoping all the way through till Sunday morning, was hoping that Clay Matthews was going to be out on the field, and that was not the case. So I really have a lot of pride in what that defensive line rotation. I think Kenny Clark had a good game. He was this close to tipping that final touchdown that would have made the difference in the game over Jake Ryan. Jake Ryan got mismatched, was way too shallow, and just didn't have a chance at the ball in that play. You got to give credit to the Atlanta Falcons. This is what they do. But Kenny Clark was very close to tipping that ball, if I'm remembering right. And I think he is turning into a fine player out there. And again, he's getting a lot of reps, and we need that. So, David says playoffs are in jeopardy. If you looked at the standings and you paid attention to the conversation, that is not the case. Playoffs are very much in line for the Packers right now. We have a tough road to hoe right now, but we are very much in it. And you watch it tonight. If the Bears can steal one, we are still in it in the NFC North. We have put ourselves behind the 8 ball a little bit, and we definitely wanted this win against the Falcons, but we are by no means eliminated. The playoffs are right ahead of us, especially in light of the fact that we are going to be playing, particularly in the NFC East. We have already lost to the Cowboys, but the Cowboys are running away with the division. That means we play Washington. We play Philadelphia. We are going to have our destiny in our own hands. All right, McCarthy, team management in both halves cost us. I think McCarthy did an absolutely fantastic job with the hand he was dealt in terms of who was out there. I would have liked to seen us not get away from the run in the third quarter. Obviously, I said this at halftime, the one thing we couldn't afford to do is stall out for an entire quarter. We often stall out for 2 quarters. This one, we got zeroed in the third quarter, and that basically was our death knell in this game. Even said, we still had the ball back with a little bit of time and a chance to do it. We just couldn't quite get it done. And Anthony is making... I'm not going to call you Captain Obvious because you might think I'm saying a bad thing. I just think it's kind of funny, but he's saying 5-2 would have been sweet. And obviously we all know that, but it's a great comment and it's so true. We really would have loved to have been able to sneak one away. However, I don't know if you caught Anthony at the beginning of the show. This is one of those losses where I feel proud of how the team performed, and I do feel like they're going to gain confidence even in a loss in this circumstance. So maybe that's the good that we can take out of what is not a victory that we truly would have loved to have. Absolutely, Anthony, we would have loved to be 5-2 right now and then watch this Bears-Vikings game tonight. So we will see how that goes tonight. It's still a very important game for us. If the Vikings can drop one game in between now and the head-to-head matchup, and we can go ahead and win out, I think we're going to have an opportunity. So we'll see. McCarthy didn't use the timeouts wisely. Okay, yep, so we need better clock management in that regard, without a doubt. We've seen that as a problem all the way since the Jacksonville game. We've seen that as a problem. But I am still in the camp that, you coach a game like this, I'm still in the camp that says I think Mike McCarthy coached crap out of this team for a week, not knowing who he was going to have. And that's where I stand on that. So, and I actually think the team executed pretty much as well as they have in a long time. We saw Aaron Rodgers, a couple errant passes in this. We had a couple opportunities that we would have loved to have back. Obviously, on defense, we would have loved to have held them in a couple instances. In particular, that sort of the drive that sealed the game, we would have loved to. And I think Trent's back on, and Trent this morning was relating it to the Badger game. If any of you watched that, the Badger game where we just needed a stop. We just had to have a stop. And he said he was cheering. He was like, this is like the Badgers. Just defense, we have to have a stop right now, and we were not able to get it done. So I would have obviously loved to have one of our guys really step up and make it happen, but there were several young players out there that I thought had really good games, and I'm pretty positive this morning about this Packers team going forward. It's going to be a difficult stretch, no question about it. So, all right, well, that's going to do it for me today. Guys, if you didn't get on, if you're not in the game yet, jump on. Just go to firefan.com, put in Get the Ring, all one word for the promo code, and you fill out the thing, and you are in before the game even comes out. Oh, I was going to tell you the dates. I almost forgot. I've got 2 manners. If you're in the game or you want to get in the game, this is definitely for you. You do not want to leave right now. If you're not in the game and you're interested, sign up. If you aren't interested, then now you don't even need to listen anymore. You can just say goodbye. MJ's calling for the precious as well. Here's the 2 things, folks. I have found out for signing up early. Now, this is a game that you download for free. It's not going to cost you anything. You can actually play for free as well, but you're going to have to do it the same way you do any other game app. You're going to have to interact with an ad, do this to collect your tokens to go ahead and play, all right? But here's several things about the token play that I can tell you today, all right? 2 things actually, and the third thing is about the date. One is all the pregame set. You're going to do a little bit of pregame. You're going to make your predictions just like you do with your buddies around the water cooler. But this is all going to be on your phone. No more spreadsheets. No more crap like that. And you're going to get credit for everything you did right. You're going to get points for that. But all the pregame set is going to be free. You could actually play this game entirely for free. If you just want to play the pregame set and see how you do, you can play for free. All right. However, tokens, if you can acquire tokens in different ways, interact with an ad, take advantage of deals, et cetera, or you can buy packs of tokens for a discount. You can pay for tokens as you go, however you want to do it. Okay. Same as any other game out there. But here's the deal. Because you guys have signed up early, you are getting 12 tokens right off the bat. Okay. So your gameplay, your pre-game play is all free anyway, and you are going to get 12 tokens right off the bat for nothing. Our gift to you to get you off the ground, give you guys a chance to try this game out, get in, see about your chances to win the Precious. And remember, this is not just about the Precious. There are loyalty rewards that you're going to win all the way up to. We're talking about t-shirts, we're talking about hats, but we're also talking all the way up to plane tickets. Tickets to the game and a new car, folks. So this is a game that is going to reward you far beyond the Precious Trophy, which is going to be available every year. We're going to come up, we'll have a ring every year for you guys. Colonel Johnny is saying Happy Halloween to everybody. But that is the situation because you signed up early. As soon as the game releases, you will no longer be able to take advantage of those 12 tokens right off the bat for you. Plus, you get an early in badge that you get to flash to everybody that says, listen, I'm in the know. I mean, congratulations for getting in when you did, but I'm in the know and I can prove it right here, all right, which is going to be tons of fun. But when the game comes out, you will no longer be able to take advantage of that opportunity. So when does the game come out? Well, just this past weekend, we found out that the game is coming out the week of Thanksgiving. It's going to come out. We are going to be ready to play around Thanksgiving time. I can't tell you exactly, but it's going to be rolling out like the week of the 21st, I think it is. So the holidays are going to be so much fun. Get ready to get all your family in. You can play with your children. Anyone can play this game. You can play with your kids. It's going to bring everybody. You start a party. You can start your own league with your friend, throw a party, play the game with the Packers, holiday season, all the food, all the fun. This is going to be one heck of a holiday run, guys, because the game is coming out the week of Thanksgiving, and I will keep you up to date on that. Happy Halloween to you as well, Rick. MJ is saying awesome. I am so stoked. And honestly, and you guys probably heard me say that it was releasing in October, and that's what they told us, and that's what they were struggling to do the very best they could. They were not able to perfect the game in October. So because they weren't, I'm gonna hold up for the feed. Because they weren't able to perfect the game in October, they did more beta testing. Now they're out there doing beta testing live with people, getting more results back from that. And so they are going to have this game perfected. That's the point, and that's the reason it's coming out Thanksgiving. But to be quite honest, I can't think of a better time to start having fun with this, sharing some time with you guys, and having a lot of fun with the Packers. All right, folks, I'm going to let you go. I've been going long. I see. Oh, hang on. I see a baby notice here. We're going to hold up for this. Peter says, baby's due date is November 25th. Fourth baby. Well, congratulations in advance. And Peter, definitely keep us up to date. Try and think of girl and boy names that sound like or have the word Packer in them. I mean, you do what you can. No, we will be happy to announce that if you, and hopefully we will be praying and thinking about you and the little tyke. Hopefully everything is absolutely perfect for you. And November is going to be a super, super exciting time for you and your family. So, all right, folks, have a happy Halloween. Cubbies were able to take one now, a 2-3 in Cleveland. I hope this thing goes to 7 games. It's going to be really exciting. Enjoy the World Series. Enjoy the Packers. We didn't get a win, but we hopefully got some confidence going forward. You guys have a great day. Go Packers. Get the ring.